What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the AFC South Roundtable. We are live for another banger, man. We got our guy Derek, Ruben, Michael in the house, and UCF Jaguar. What's going on, fellas? Let's start with UCF. How you feeling tonight, man?
Hey, man, all is good here. Just got back from Puerto Rico, feeling tanned, feeling vacationed up. Now YouTube doesn't sleep though, so we're ready to get back on the grind.
Man, vacation, man. I thought you would take that as soon as y'all got eliminated.
No, man, I was specifically planning for the week after the Super Bowl, right? So, didn't wind up happening.
Oh, man, that's what's up, man. Well, I hope you rested, man. Michael, how you been feeling, man? What's going on?
Good. Feeling good, man. Just bringing sexy back to the show as usual.
Oh, man, sexy is back, ladies and gentlemen. Pause. Derek, how you feeling, man?
I'm doing great, man. Ready to get into some more content. But, man, UCF, you had me high-key jealous. I was looking at some of them videos you had, them Bet US
right?
You had going on from
on
Puerto
the beach.
Rico, bro. I was so mad.
Hey, man, you got to do your Bet US reads anywhere you can, man. Whether you're in your home studio or if you're in another country, you know what I mean? Gotta let everybody know the different odds that are out there, especially since Super Bowl 59er odds are out there on Bet US right now. It's a good time.
Get the cream.
Already out. We're gonna go through those and more. Ruben, what's up, man? The division winner. How you feeling?
Hey, man, I'm feeling blessed, highly favored. The only beach next to me is Galveston, and you just heard Jameis Winston say how ugly that is, and I could attest that. It's absolutely horrible. But, hey, man, I'm happy to be here. This is like my third favorite thing of the week here, man.
What's 1 and 2?
Okay, so 1 and 2 has to be waking up, you know, thank God we get another day. And then number 2, is just a nice breakfast egg sandwich, right? Cinnamon, brown bacon, a fried egg, toasted bread with the butter, and then, a little cooked ham.
I can think of about 420 other things that you like, but it's all good. We'll save that for another show.
Oh, man. Boy, y'all kill me, man. All right, man. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to the AFC South Roundtable. We want you to know that this stream is being powered by BetUS. The link is in the description of the video. BetUS has an all-new promotion, ladies and gentlemen, that I have to tell you about so you don't miss out on this opportunity, okay? They have the 125% bonus on not just your first deposit anymore, but your first 3 deposits now. Yes, that was not a mistake by me. They actually have the 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits. Take advantage of that opportunity now. Supporting our sponsors is supporting the channel. And one thing about BetUS is they have 24/7 customer service. They also have fast 24-hour payouts, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, it's not just sportsbook like a lot of people think that it is. It's sportsbook. It also has the live betting. One of my favorite is also the casino as well. Some people love playing blackjack. Some people love playing slots. All of those things are available on BetUS, okay? They are the official sponsor of the Roundtable here at Roundtable Sports and AFC South Roundtable. So supporting our sponsors is supporting the channel. But before we move on, I want to play a little bit with the NFL future odds, ladies and gentlemen. I want to ask you guys, because as I bring these odds up, there are some interesting things for the NFL with the futures odds. One of the most intriguing right now for a lot of people is the first overall pick in the NFL draft. We all know that Chicago owns the pick right now, okay? But even with that being said, Caleb Williams doesn't want to go to Chicago, and it looks like Justin Fields may be on his way out. Do you feel good about betting on a Caleb Williams being picked overall first, or could that be Drake May? What's your thoughts on it, UCF Jaguar?
I mean, for me, I don't think the odds are good enough to put money on Caleb Williams. Just the payout isn't big enough, but there's a lot of things about Caleb Williams that honestly a lot of scouts don't like, and a lot of it's kind of between the ears. I think a lot of people think that he might be a little bit too cocky, and just things like that. So if there's another quarterback that maybe later on another quarterback shoots himself way up. I remember there were times where, in a Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston draft, I think a lot of people all along thought Mariota was going to be first overall. Then Jameis Winston kind of came in there and all of a sudden became the favorite. So you never know, especially, before the combine gets here. Like the combine is when, scouts start talking and then people get mixed up. And then, maybe from there, another quarterback shoots his way up. So if you're a guy that, thinks one of these guys, whether it be like a Drake May or, Jaden Daniels or one of these guys, you think that you have a lot of confidence in them and you actually do think that they're the best guy out there, maybe you want to put a little bit of money on that because, even if you just put down like, $10 on one of these guys, you're going to really, really increase your payout if they do go number 1 overall.
Just interesting, man. What about you, Ruben? What are your thoughts with the props that you're seeing?
I mean, I just think they're gonna draft, Caleb Williams, and I saw the Justin Fields unfollowing almost everyone. I think the Bears are gonna have to make a decision, and it's gonna be Caleb.
Ooh, Caleb, but there's no one cares at the fact that he doesn't want to go there.
I mean,
from what I heard, that report was bogus. At least that's what I heard.
Yeah, wasn't it like the NFL Rums account or something?
Yeah,
like
it was
that?
like someone who was like a Chicago reporter that people have said that he has missed on so many things. That's just me. I it might be true. I have no clue, but
yeah, from my understanding, it's like he didn't want his team doesn't want him going there, but they got to be politically correct. Anybody who drafts him, he'll be willing to go. But I think it's kind of like making it known, but backtracking because everybody does at this time of year. But it'll be
a red flag with him. That's another red flag with him. I know a lot of people out these different red flags. Like when was the last time a quarterback but that was going to be taken number 1 really said no, I don't want to go there? Was it Eli Manning? Has it been that long? This doesn't happen very often, man. It's hard to really envision that in your head.
It works out though.
It does. I mean, it's just such a weird spot right now because Chicago is sounding like they want Justin Fields. Meanwhile, Justin Fields is showing that he doesn't really want to be there. Caleb Williams has suggested the idea that maybe he wants to go to the right situation. And honestly, him being in the right situation is probably not going to be Chicago. So you have all these different aspects going on. I feel like you got to give it a little more time before you can confidently put Caleb Williams in for a number 1 overall bet right now.
Yeah, I think Drake May is still in contention for that number 1 overall pick. You let us know. Everyone watching, let us know what you think. Or just go on to BetUS, put your own bet on it, or who you think is going to be the number 1 pick overall. Again, the stream is being powered by BetUS. Don't forget to take advantage of the bonus, all right? All right, guys, I want to dive into a few things that are more team specific because here we are. We're in the off season, and there's an order to the off season, okay? There's an order to how everything operates, and the first thing that a team has to get in order is their coaching staff, okay? And I want to go around the table and see, how do you feel about this current state of your coaching staff one by one? I wanted to start with Michael on this one. In Tennessee, how are you feeling with the recent changes in your current coaching staff?
Right now, I mean, it's a young staff that's getting shaped up to be really just going in there and just getting their feet wet with the whole situation right now. I do think that there's a lot of upside there. I feel you've got guys that are getting the opportunity to shine on a bigger stage. And I mean, that's usually how it goes. Sometimes some of these younger coaching staffs go in and they just start knocking things down like gangbusters. I do feel, the whole narrative of Brian Callahan going in and getting guys that he's worked with, I mean, that goes anywhere. Anybody that goes to work somewhere, you want to bring somebody in that you're comfortable with and you've had experience with. So, I mean, that's not a big deal to me. The biggest thing is it's making it work on a long-term success level. So that's really what it's going to come down to the Titans and Brian Callahan. Can that staff work together and get to the ultimate goal of getting back to the tippy top of the AFC South?
Nice, man. Nice. Derek, what about the Colts?
Well, I mean, everyone knows how I feel about Shane Steichen and our head coach right now. I feel very confident in the direction that this team can go with Shane Steichen. I feel our offensive staff has really done a fantastic job. Jim Bob Cooter, I think, will be happy to have Anthony Richardson back next year. to try and implement a few more new things. Reggie Wayne as the wide receiver coach. I mean, you can never go wrong with a future Hall of Famer coaching these guys out there. And then, of course, with Tony Sperano Jr. out there at the O-line, he's done a fantastic job rebuilding this O-line back to what it was beforehand. The most recent coaching change that we made, which I was very happy with, was Charlie Partridge, the former Pitt defensive line coach. He has been, he was like twice named best defensive line coach in college football over the last like 5 or so years. The only guy ever since the award was started to give out that's won it twice. So he's a very well-respected coach in college football. Definitely the highest rated defensive line coach that there is out there. He's done a lot of great things with a lot less talent out there and has helped really elevate a lot of guys. So I think him being able to go to this defensive line that has a bunch of guys that are looking to just try to elevate themselves still, I think is a great thing to help this team really get back on track. We really just, the only thing we're missing right now is a secondary guy, but so far I'm really liking how this coaching staff is turning out right now.
Interesting. Ruben, what about yourself?
You know, this coaching staff, we were kind of worried because we thought we were going to lose both Bobby Slowick, you know, to a head coaching job, and we thought we were going to lose Gerard Johnson to an offensive coordinator job. The Houston Texans decided to bring them back, gave both of them a pay raise, and I can argue that bringing back Gerard Johnson was just as important as Bobby Slowick, because when Bobby Slowick leaves this offseason to be a head coach, Gerard Johnson is there. Our DC, Matt Burke, is still here. You know, D'Amico Ryan calling defense, so we are excited about that. The only coach that has left us has been our assistant D-lines coach, but pretty much everyone has came back, which was kind of surprising with all the interviews that this coaching staff has gotten. We also have our special teams coach, Frank Ross, who a lot of people consider to be a head coach one day. He is staying and returning. The Texans special teams has been fantastic the past couple of seasons with him as the leader there. But this is the first time in a long time that our head coach, our offensive coordinator, our DC, and our quarterback coach are coming back another year.
Another year. They got the gang back together. Now, what's going on in Jacksonville?
Yeah, I mean, the Jaguars have a new defensive general with Ryan Nielsen after Mike Caldwell got fired. And look, I mean, by all accounts, this guy was like the home run hire, the best guy that Jaguars could have hired. And, you know, with Doug Peterson kind of being the offensive guy, you know, Ryan Nielsen will have full autonomy of this defense. So I feel really good about that. I like listening to his press conference. He just brings a lot of good energy, and, you know, it really feels like he knows what he wants, as opposed to, you know, having a first-time guy doing it like the Jaguars had the last time. Just, you know, looked like he was trying to figure some things out on the fly a little bit too much, and it just, you know, wasn't great. But I guess with everything, I mean, like I said, like I've been saying, like my issue with the team isn't necessarily coaching staff. It's more so just the GM and the front office and the people kind of building the team. So I feel good about, you know, the coaching staff. You know, I like Doug Peterson. I think, you know, he'll figure out what he needs to do with this offense. I think overall, you know, personnel was a lot bigger of an issue than the coaching was. Although, you know, it was pretty bad at times, and I think Doug Peterson needs to really get Press Taylor, you know, keep him in check, because there were times where just a lot of questionable play calling kind of went on. So they got to figure out what went wrong and, you know, try to fix it. But luckily, you know, I think they have some, you know, good players at each different level, especially number 16. I think, you know, I think the coaching staff is all right for the Jags.
Mm-hmm. So once teams figure out their coaching staff pretty much in the offseason, the next thing that teams typically do is get their books in order. You know, they talk about the salary cap situation. You know, how much money does each team have? Are they in a positive? Are they looking at some tough decisions? I wanted to ask you guys, you know, what are your thoughts on your teams, the current state of their salary cap? Are they in trouble? Does it look good? What's the case right now for the team? Michael, can you start this one?
Well, right now the Titans are sitting at number 2, and I mean, they might drop depending on what happens with the Bears and Washington's books going forward. But Chad Brinker's basically running the whole show there with all the bookkeeping stuff. And coming from Green Bay, you get pretty good at moving some numbers around and being able to move free agents through and make sure some of your key guys get paid. So there's a reason why it's in Tennessee. So the biggest thing going forward for the Titans is it's just investing in the right people and making sure that they get the right players that they need to move forward. I do think the Titans have to see this as a long-term build. You don't have to necessarily see it as a 1 year or 2 year situation. You can have success in 1 year, but you have to be building long-term and doing that continually as you go forward through the process. So Tennessee's in really good position. It's just executing those moves and making sure you invest in the right people.
All right. What about the Colts? How is their salary cap situation right now?
Currently sitting just under $59 million for the remainder of this offseason. It's definitely going to be a little tight for the Indianapolis Colts because you have about 4 different guys that are staples of the organization that you'd like to bring back. Michael Pittman, we have to either tag him or give him a new deal this offseason, which, is most likely going to be anywhere from 20 to 23 million. It just depends on the number. So that's, about 40% of your budget gone in just one player. And then you got to bring back Kenny Moore, who's your best corner. Julian Blackmon, you're going to try to do that because he's your best safety. And then, of course, we got to talk about Grover Stewart, who's one of the best run-stopping defensive tackles in the entire NFL. And it ain't going to be cheap for all these guys. I've kind of done a little bit of the math and think that Indy, if they're able to re-sign all these guys, probably sitting about anywhere from $15 to $20 million left after it, which is definitely not a lot, but it's definitely still capable of making a move here and there to help fix up your depth. I just can't wait till the salary cap increases next year when we get a little bit more freedom to kind of do some work. But I mean, then you got to talk about, some of these other players that's not the only ones they got to try to re-sign. You might try to keep Zach Moss around. You might try to keep Gardner Minshew around as your backup quarterback. I'm not sure. And there's a couple other guys that, might be at the bottom of the pile, but Indy, they're going to have enough money to bring back the key guys that they want to, but it's not going to leave them a whole lot of room to make a lot of big moves. They'll really only have the opportunity to maybe make one big splash move or just a bunch of small moves to help fill out the depth.
Got it. So, hey, they still close to 60 million cap space, so they at least have some flexibility. What about the young team, but how does the cap look right now?
Yeah, so currently the Texans are sitting around $55 million. So right under the Colts. I think the Colts are 5th highest, and then we're 6th, but we could potentially add 10 more by cutting Robert Woods and cutting veteran safety Jimmy Ward. Right now, it is looking good for the Houston Texans. This is the most money we've had in a while. Really, the only player that we are debating on is Jonathan Grenard, coming off of a big 13.5 sack season. And some of us in Houston are thinking he does not return to the Texans because he might command more than $18 million. You've also heard people, talk about adding a running back to the position. We've seen Saquon follow so many Houston Texans players. Dalton Schultz, we've talked about bringing him back. The only big move is going to be on Jonathan Grenard, and that's right now the biggest decision for the Houston Texans. You let a homegrown talent like him really go and test free agency, because as soon as he goes, you are going to have to replace him. However, as far as the moves the Texans can make, just like what Derek just said, I could potentially see 1 to 2 really kind of big moves by this team, or just a big sprinkle of just some mid-tier guys like they did last year, bringing in Noah Brown, Devin Singletary, Dalton Schultz. So it's looking good for the Houston Texans, but they definitely have to make a decision on Jonathan Grenard.
Wow. Hey, before I go to UCF Jaguar, Michael, did you know the exact number by any chance of how much cap the Titans have?
It's been fluctuating around. I think this morning it was around 65. So,
man. So 65, 60, 56, UCF Jaguar. your team is ahead of the curve, been ahead of the curve for a few years on these guys. Are you guys in a favorable place right now? What's going on, man?
I mean, the perception is that we're not in a great place. But I mean, right now the Jaguars have $17.2 million available in cap. But the thing is, that puts us at 19th most in the NFL, which isn't that bad. And I actually have the Jaguars making a few cuts by cutting, according to Spot Track, if you cut Brandon Sheriff, Cam Robinson, Foley Fatukasi, Rayshon Jenkins, and Zay Jones, you're going to save $38 million. And then the cap goes up another $25 million. So, on top of that, just with the NFL, salary cap increasing by $25 million this year. So there's going to be a lot of different things that the Jaguars can do when it comes to, trying to kind of reconstruct the roster a little bit through free agency. And, of course, you got to sign Josh Allen. But, I think that a lot of moves are going to be made, especially on the, offensive line and defensive line. Try to get it in a place where, your trenches are good and solid to where then, in the draft and stuff like that, you can more so focus on, not necessarily the glamour positions, but, go and draft your wide receiver, go and look at another cornerback over there, do that stuff. And I think as long as you're keeping your quarterback upright, I think the Jaguars can, be pretty dangerous. But, 19th in the NFL, it's not a bad spot right now, especially when you have a quarterback on his rookie deal. But, of course, the rookie deal is ending soon. But, I don't think the Jaguars are in a terrible spot. But I guess when you compare it to the rest of in the AFC South, I mean, you're against a bunch of teams. I think 3 out of the top 5 teams in cap space are in the AFC South. So it's pretty crazy.
Man, you need some quality player or a wow or something.
Sorry, you're lagging a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, right guard Brandon Sheriff, he's getting older, didn't have a great year. I mean, Cam Robinson, you cut him, you save $16 million. And they have the player before he got injured that was actually playing some of the best left tackle for us was Walker Little. Then he got dinged up, and then he just never returned back right. And I don't know. I mean, you're going to have to, of course, lose something good to, be able to go out and sign different guys that you may want to sign. But, it's a part of the game of football.
Well, one last question I have for you guys. Your biggest free agent target right now, who you would love to see your team go out and get. I want to start with Derek on this one, if you don't mind. What's the big target that you would love to see your team go get?
Oh man, free agent wise, it'd have to be either in the safety market or in the edge market. I've been a big proponent, you guys obviously know, of the Colts trying to get a somewhat elite edge rusher in this offseason. So, that's been a huge thing. Brian Burns would be a big one for me. I would love to see Brian Burns come here. I don't know if Ballard would ever consider doing that. As far as safeties go, maybe getting someone like a Xavier McKinney or Jeremy Chin over in Indianapolis would be fantastic. But that's about it for me when it comes to the top tier free agents that I would like to get.
What about you, Ruben?
I mean, for me, the Houston Texans, it's Saquon Barkley. I think we need a game-changing running back. And the Houston Texans only had 3 100-yard rushing performances all year. They were all victories. Just imagine how scary this Houston Texan offense gets when you add a player like Saquon Barkley. Everyone's going to bring up his injury history. Look, scared money don't make money. This is the exact situations that the 49ers were in before they, traded for Christian McCaffrey. Don't be scared. You have CJ Stroud under his rookie contract, 4 more years. Spend the money. I think Saquon would feed families here in Houston.
Feed
Ruben's
families.
Gonna be so upset when they don't do anything at running back this offseason.
Wow.
Well, D'Amico said that both sides of the ball need to be addressed. So if we're going to go on a defense one, I like Justin Madubuike as well from the Baltimore Ravens, 26 years old, had at least half a sack in 13 games this year. This dude would transform the Houston Texans defense and the exact player that D'Amico Ryan wants here in Houston. Hey, Madubuike from Texas, played here at A&M, but the trenches D'Amico Ryan said himself needed to be addressed.
Nice. UCF, what about you guys?
Well, I mean, the easy one is defensive lineman Josh Allen, but I think we all know that that's the easy one. So I'm gonna go with a different one. I'm gonna say, how about this? How about defensive lineman Donnell Hunter? I mean, the Jaguars have been flirting with him a bunch over the last year. You know, they were rumored to want to go get him last July, and then it just never really came into fruition. And the Jaguars are very much heavily rumored to get him, you know, at the trade deadline. But the Jaguars, all they really had to trade was like a first round pick, so they didn't do it. You know, pretty recently, Jeremy Fowler of ESPN said that the top two teams to potentially land Donnell Hunter are the Bears and the Jaguars. So the Jaguars have really always wanted him, and now it's going to be, I don't think the Vikings are going to be able to keep him. So, you know, when it comes to getting more edge rushers in here and just more guys to bolster up the defensive line, you know, the third down package with Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker, both guys who had double-digit sacks, bringing Donnell Hunter into that mix, and man, you're going to have a pretty ferocious defensive line next year.
Man, that would be scary. Michael, what about Tennessee?
I mean, most people are saying offense, but I think Tennessee's really going to focus free agency looking at the defensive market. You know, cornerback, I think, is going to be one position they need to try and address through free agency. You look at Jalen Johnson or even Jarius Sneed, which I think would fill humongous needs for a team that's desperately needing to try to find another lockdown corner right opposite of what Roger McCreary's done for last year. But also, I also look at possibly the linebacking core. You could possibly add, you know, Patrick Queen from Baltimore, and a name that's getting kicked around a lot for the Titans has been Chase Young. So that'd be an interesting landing spot if the Titans feel that they could solidify that defensive line on the opposite side of Harold Landry and, of course, Jeffrey Simmons.
Has Chase Young revived his career, or did he? No?
No,
We'll
I'm not
see.
going to say yes, because this is a guy that was a number 2 overall pick, man. Like, he definitely gave himself an opportunity to be able to do something, but I mean, he hasn't really been anything special with the 49ers since being there. I don't think he's really been.
He looked good in the Super Bowl, right? So it's like when the game matter, you know, he played.
He also
good,
missed a tackle that was very easily that he could have made on Pacheco that ended up resulting in a touchdown. So I mean, there's been questions of his effort being with the 49ers since he's been there. So I mean, that's a concern if people are starting to question effort on taking plays off.
Well, I think he's a guy that you possibly can get a good value deal on. So if Tennessee gets him, that'll be a huge win. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We are live in the off season. Thank you to the chat. I see y'all in the chat right now. Y'all been really active in the chat. This is not pre-recorded. This is live. I see you, 713 Houston Sports, Jalen Johnson, 0339, Jose Garcia, Sir Enzo Fernandez. Man, I see you all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to the AFC South Roundtable. We'll be dropping another one in a few days talking about more off-season action. Love you all. Appreciate you all. We will see you soon. Peace. We are out.